How is everybody doing on this beautiful day? So, I was having a conversation with the lady yesterday in the grocery store. And she was a really nice lady. She was older, and she was telling me about how she was a military brat and all of these things and stuff like that. And it's really interesting having conversations with people. It's interesting having conversations with your peers and then people that are older, because the world has changed so much drastically in the last few years, right? So, some of the things that was a flex once is not a flex no more. And it was interesting because I was explaining to the lady, I was like, I have degrees, I've already gone to school, things of that nature. So she was telling me about, she only had one kid and he's older and he has a child, got a full ride to school. And I'm like, that's cool, that's dope. Like, the sad part is, I don't regret going to school. I just regret what I decided to major in, if that makes sense. Now, well, I don't even have regrets on that either, because I really felt like everything that I majored in throughout the whole course basically helped me perfect what it is I'm called to do. So, in so many words, say if you are really skilled at helping people and guide them and being strategic, and you decide to take a lot of courses to help you, guide you along the way. And I look at them more as continuing education courses as well. I'm about to get comfortable. So with that being said, to go to school or not to go to school, I really feel like when I was coming along and I was in school, it wasn't a choice. It was more so you had to go. That's what the smart kids did. They went to school. But then I have a son that's very intelligent, and he didn't want to go to college. And honestly, I don't regret not forcing him to go. Hear me out. I feel like everybody's supposed to find their way and find what it is they're called to do. But if you are spending all your adulthood going to school, I mean, it's really a 50-50 situation on if it's going to really be what it is on the other side. Now we have other things that are factored in with the decision that a lot of people have made. So basically, if you aren't already secured in within a corporation in some type of way, you got to think about how affirmative action was reversed. And now a lot of agencies do not have to hire people because of their diversity. Also, on the other spectrum, people are really upset because their privileged kids aren't able to skip the line to these universities. That was like a thing that happened right afterwards. So, in my opinion, I think there have been a lot of community grants that I noticed, a lot of increased programs, increased resources for people to go get a trade. I think what happened, they came through, they pushed college so much that they jacked up everything. And what I mean by that is less people that are able to complete certain trades because there's so many people that have the intellectual part but don't have the skill set to perform certain duties. So I'm gonna give an example. I noticed that one of the cities in my area is hiring so, like, they need wastewater people so bad that I've literally looked and seeing that they are marketing these positions on social media platforms. They are literally dropping commercials, and if you go into their listings, it's like a lot of openings. So like wastewater, storm, like these are a lot of the positions that people that were older that did not go to school, like I guess you could say, I guess you could just, I don't know if I could say, I don't know if I would say it's the baby boomers, but anyway, it's a lot of people that I remember that their parents retired from there after working there 40 years and this and that. A lot of those people are retiring, they're getting older, and they're not doing those positions anymore. So then you come up and you have a large generation of people leaving, going to school, and some people are going to school and they're leaving the community and they're not even coming back, right? Then you think about, well, this area is a high military area. So if you have a high military area, high area of people just going to school, leaving, never coming back, and you are really not promoting trades the way that they used to many years ago. Because I remember, like, even in middle school, learning different, like literally hands-on things within the same school. It wasn't a separate school you went to learn how to cook and sew and whatever you want to do, like wood cutting and things of that nature. All of that was inclusive. It's in one location. But as time evolved, all of that got replaced with a lot of people coming from different schools telling you about how great college was and how, you know, how it would increase your opportunities. This is in a third. Now, don't get me wrong. I have had the opportunity to explore HBCU. I've had the opportunity to be in affluent settings. I really can't say I have a preference because at the end of the day, you're still going to get a combination of people in both of those institutions. That you, the thing is, you have to learn how to um, adapt, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, with that skill set, you can do that anywhere. So, one of the things I guess you could say was my saving grace, and I'm thankful that I decided to teach myself a trade that was something near and dear to my people, um, my lineage, and the women on that side of my maternal side. Um, in the midst of being in a corporate situation, because I really did not think it was conducive to the life that I really wanted to live ultimately. Because my goal, like, it was crazy because a lot of times I would pray to be able to be free from corporate. Once I already got in there, I wanted to be free from that. I wanted to be able to homeschool my daughter, and it was a lot of things I wanted to be able to do, not under somebody else's corporation. Because at the end of the day, the moment a person gets tired of you, all it takes is one person not to like you, they'll lie, manipulate, and they'll fire you. That's, you know, and it can really ruin a person's life if you really get stuck with those people in those type of situations. And people love and whatever. So with that being said, teaching myself my own trade, that same trade I can use to always teach. Two, I can use it as a resource for myself. And not only that, it's something that I can share with my children. So I remember growing up, and my biological father was a carpenter. Like, so, you know, he had a trade and he had skill sets. And those skill sets, he took those same skill sets and he made sure that, like, his nephews had, most of them had skill sets. The ones that wanted to listen, that wanted to participate, they had a skill set. So it's a lot of community that's missing involved in teaching these skill sets. But what I did notice is a lot of new grant opportunities available. Excuse me. for young people, older people, and people to transition from what they were doing to something else. So even if it's just painting, like a lot of people already know how to paint. Now they might have to go in there and learn the proper, appropriate ways to do whatever. But I think everybody should have those skill sets, even if they don't ever want to use them. Like I feel like soon, and this is in my opinion, there will be a lot of major corporations, institutions, and all of them. They will not be able to continue to operate the way that they were in the past. I really feel like we're going to go back to that old ideology, or I guess system, of people spending more time. More small businesses will be needed. Their services will be needed, because when you get caught up in corporations, it's just so much more people. Like it gets really really strange the more and more people you add into a corporation, and it can be quite problematic, especially when it comes to having the right leaders to lead everybody in the right direction. So in this day and age, I would encourage my child to get a trade, and that same trade, they can take that same trade once they say if they go into a program and they have to go work for a certain company for 5 years. During that 5 years, they can start a small business. They can work that small business periodically whenever they get the chance, or they can hire people, they can hire employees to work that business. But after that 5 year mark, they can go full time. Uh they can get their what's the name, certifications, so they can get contracts just like anybody else. I've noticed a lot of people that have like plumbing and different specializations that they only do work for commercial. Some people do deal with residential. However, I would be having them go be electricians, engineers, painters, welders, and all of those things. I would not send my child to, I just wouldn't do it, because that certification and the ability to be flexible in your own life and have your own freedom is going to be way it's going to be way more beneficial in the future. They've already changed the market and made it harder for people to use their degrees. I am thankful because I did not get caught up in that hamster wheel of having to use mine in order to get employment. But what I did face a lot of times, when I did try to go back to a place where I shouldn't have been in the first place, because like I said, I prayed for those doors to close, I noticed that I will always be overqualified, and those places no longer work for me. And I'm okay and I'm fine with them. But some people really need to really pay attention to that. So don't be hard on your kid when they don't know what they want to do. However, just go ahead and guide them. Now, when I was having a conversation with the lady, and we were talking about joining the military, and I had to tell her, remind her, I said, ma'am, it's a different time. Like, that's not even a flex anymore. Like, there's so many people. Like, don't get me wrong, the benefits, like when you leave, you can get a home. It's a lot of things that will be, basically handed to you because you're a veteran. On the other side, there are a lot of young people, and I've met a few of them, that are really struggling with mental health, that they need help with being able to advocate for themselves while in the military, because that's not a priority to any of the superiors, in my opinion. Some, but a lot, do not want or do not care about that. They need you to do what I need you to do, and that's it. So I met a young man and he was telling me he was from another state and he had like 12 siblings or something. He was telling me something about his childhood and he was just telling me that he was married and things of that nature. And I was like, well, listen, I do recommend you go ahead and sit and talk to somebody, because all it's going to do is make you a better husband. It's going to make you a better person before you start having children, yada, 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 yada. But anyway, so that's just like with me, I was really battling. Should I go and take a couple more courses so I can go ahead and, apply for a license to be a counselor? And I'm like, why would I go through all that when I've already been through school for a long time and I don't really need the paperwork to, encourage and share information in that aspect, because I've had the opportunity to be around people that have LPCs, and it really taught me how dumb they are. It taught me how conditioned they were. It taught me how, not all of them, most of the people that I came across, how out of touch with reality they were. And I did not want to become indoctrinated to the point where I'm not beneficial to my people and I can't be honest with them about certain things. So with that being said, I like to work with people that are receptive and are ready to make change. I don't want to be stuck in a situation to where working places, for one, I no, that's just doing the least. So an example of um, that is like, I'm really disappointed because I really got an opportunity to see what they were really doing now with the kids that age out of high school that has IEPs. Many years ago, I got the opportunity to see that they were basically using whatever they could off of their documentation to keep them in the system. So say for instance, if somebody had a different learning style, that doesn't mean they can't learn. That just means they might have different ways to process, and maybe audio, of a visual learner, hands on. Kinetic is a real big thing for a lot of young people. But the crazy thing is, when they taught a lot of the teachers in their first semester, they taught them about the different learning styles. However, I noticed how the system has manipulated and used those IEPs against those learning styles to keep these young people trapped in mental institutions and things of that nature. More so in some states. And I think the the way that they're able to manipulate and change the wording around and have them, in my opinion, against their will to do things they really don't want to do is not fair, just to be able to get billable hours. And I'm glad I don't have to be a part of that no more, and nor do I desire to be a part of that anymore, because I think it's very wicked. So again, instead of that young person that has a different learning style, they could have learned a trade and they could be a productive member of society. Instead, they got this young person going in the cycle back and forth into this institution, in the hands of people that are not really trying to help them. They're trying to hold on to them. They're babysitting them until they can send them over there and wait for them to put them in a place where they know they're not gonna flourish. Then bring them back and play ping pong with them. So again, I do think there will be an increase in more people in trades. I think what they should do is go ahead and start getting licenses and stuff straight, dealing with their trade. I really believe they should go ahead and get, establish them a little LLC, build them a little business profile, and be able to work on the side until they finish their obligation with the trade part and be able to work for themselves. Or they could, even contract out some of that work um, in certain areas. Let me really go because I got some other stuff I got to do. But yeah, that was my spiel on that. And I hope you guys enjoy and you have a wonderful week.